Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's good out there, Liquid Trucking? Welcome into episode 28 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus. Thank you all for being here today. I got to give a huge tip of the cap to you guys right off the top here because you guys, a lot of the times podcasts are only looked at in the number of clicks and like, well, it doesn't matter how good the content is. It doesn't matter what the host is doing. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We just want to make sure that people are listening. And we don't look at this podcast like that. We want to make sure the content's good. We want to make sure and involve everybody that wants to be involved. And we want to get any messages out to the drivers from management or to management from the drivers that need to be disseminated. That's our job here on this podcast. But we still do get to see the numbers, and wow, you guys deserve a massive round of applause out there. I don't know who you're telling about the podcast. I don't know who you're asking to listen, whether it be other Liquid drivers and staff members, or you're out there jawing about it at the truck stops when you're talking to drivers from other companies. I don't care what you're doing. Just keep doing it, because this podcast is being listened to by, like, I don't know, I would say somewhere between 5 and 10 times the amount of people that work at Liquid. We're getting those kind of numbers right now, and we have been. It's been sustaining, and I've been kind of shucking my duty here and not telling you guys thank you for that, because it's huge for us, okay? The more people that we get to talk to about Liquid Trucking, the better employees and drivers that are going to join Liquid Trucking in the future, all right? That's what this podcast is doing. We are helping build the brand here, and we're also talking about everything that needs to be talked about. So I just want to say thanks again to everybody that clicks download, everybody that subscribes, everybody that talks to me in the Liquid Drivers Lounge or on the Facebook page, the Liquid Trucking Company's Facebook page. Thank you from top to bottom to the staff. And I can say that because I have talked to the very top. Okay, we've had Roger on this podcast a bunch. We've had the Schmidt boys. We've had Jason. We've even had Mike Bynes on this podcast going way back when. So I want to thank everybody at Liquid Trucking. It's a phenomenal company. We've spent the last couple of weeks talking about how phenomenal of a company it is. I got a great response on the driver backstories episode from a couple of weeks ago. That episode aired, and I had drivers texting me all day long talking about how much they enjoyed that episode. You know what that means when that happens, Liquid. Part 2's on the way, and I've already lined up a couple of drivers that want to be involved in Part 2. So we'll get to that coming up here in a few weeks or maybe a couple of months. It just depends. We got a lot to do on this podcast. You know, we have an important job here, but we will definitely get another one of those episodes on the air for you, because it was a heavy episode, but in a good way, right? We talked about what happens when you go through it and you come out the other side smelling like a rose. And Liquid Trucking provides those opportunities for a lot of people. And it was also really cool just to hear the drivers talk about how they pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. Nobody was going to do it for them. And just, you know, really brave to come on here and tell those stories. Those aren't easy things to talk about. And I know as a almost 40-year-old male, it's way easier to just stuff them. Just stuff them in a bag and throw them in the closet, and you can get to it later. But it's also not the healthiest way to go about it. And talking about it is. And I just... huge thanks to the drivers that came on for that episode a couple weeks ago. And know now, drivers, we will be having a part 2 of the driver backstories coming up very soon. So what's today about? I've been talking about, you know, last week and 2 weeks ago and here in the future. What are we doing today? Well, today's actually like one of the episodes I've been the most excited about, okay? And we've been talking about doing this since the very outset of this podcast. 28 weeks ago, we talked about this, and even before that. But we just haven't got around to it. And it just so happened that we had a slot where we could slip this one in, and I can't wait. Because some of you drivers out there have heard about a little thing called the Teenage Hotline. Well, that sounds a little weird. Why are we a bunch of adults talking about a Teenage Hotline? The Teenage Hotline is a group of drivers that drive for Liquid Trucking that spend most, if not all, of their day on the phone with one another. They're connected all the time. They've got a party line going where they can jump in and jump out. And, if one of them's offloading, they might go off the line for a little while, but then when they're back rolling and they've got their headset on, they might jump back in. These guys are always talking, and that means that they have a fantastic relationship that I can't wait to dig into. I've been told that they don't necessarily want to be exposed, but at the same time, they all agreed to come on the episode and be exposed. So what I can tell you is we're going to have some fun here. I've got Polar Bear coming on. I've got Matt Kleich. I've got Wendell Yoder. I've got John Frey. And I've got Jason Krayenhagen. And I hope I didn't butcher his name, but we will find out right around the corner when we get these guys in here. I just cannot wait to talk to them. I know that they've wanted to do this for a very long time, like I said, and I've wanted to do it for a very long time. So the excitement's been building. That means we've got a good podcast segment around the corner for you. So without further ado, I present to you, the men and women of Liquid Trucking, the Teenage Hotline. Any segment that we lead in with the A-Team theme has got to be a pretty important segment. I'm not pulling out all the stops for just anybody, but today I am pulling out all the stops because we are finally going to talk to the Teenage Hotline. They are all here with me right now. I want to say a big Liquid Trucking podcast welcome to Jason Krayenhagen, John Frey, Polar Bear, Matt Kleich, and Wendell Yoder. Thank you guys all for being here today.
Yeah, glad to be here. No problem.
Thanks
for having us.
Of course, guys, and this is long overdue. We've talked about this, Polar Bear, the very first time I ever talked to you. You told me about the Teenage Hotline, and you said we got to get them on. And I'm sorry it's taken this long, but I've been absolutely running circles around myself in anticipation for this week. You guys are kind of famous in your own right, and I just want to ask you real quick, since we opened with the theme of the A-Team, before we get into the origins of the Teenage Hotline, Polar Bear, will start with you. If you guys all embodied a character from the A-Team, who would you be? You a face?
Matt already done this earlier.
Okay, all right, well tell me what you guys figured out.
Talking. Yeah, Matt, who would you be? Yeah. He's asking you, who would you be? No, you remember the A-Team. Yeah, I would be Mr. J then.
You'd be B.A. Baracus, huh?
Yeah. Because I just want to stand in, I just want to stand in the background and watch over everything.
Yeah, just look pretty, and just the threat of you getting involved is enough for everybody, right?
Yeah. And I got half of his hairdo there. I just have to do the most.
All right, Wendell, how about you, buddy? Which A-Team character are you?
I would be the crazy one. What was his name? Murdoch. I'd be Murdoch, yeah.
Okay. All right.
That fits.
That fits. Matt, how about you?
I'm going to go with Yoder. I want to be Murdoch.
Okay, well, we got to...
I mean, I could probably be, head honcho.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You're a bit more of a Hannibal. Well, listen, guys, there's only 4 A-Team characters, so one of you is going to have to be Tia. I hate to tell you, but somebody's going to have to fill the role, guys. So
I'll do it. I got no shame. I'll do it.
All right, John.
I guess I'll be a face.
You gonna be face? Okay, I like it. Jason, that might be bad that it fell to you, but
I'm the winner. Heck yeah.
You're Tia. That probably means you're the best looking. You're the best looking of the bunch, though, right?
Yeah, they're all falling for me. It's all good. Yeah.
Oh man, I love it, guys. So talk to me a little bit. Polar Bear, I'm going to start with you because you kind of were the one that brought this whole thing to my attention. Talk to me about the origins of the Teenage Hotline. How did this whole thing come together?
So it all started with a former driver, which is Wendell's cousin-in-law, that he's the one, he would walk through the break room see the new ones and just start getting numbers saying, hey, here's my number if you need any help. And then him and Matt started it first, right, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And then I think I was second. I think it was, because there's been 2 or 3 that kicked out of it because they're there you go. I was trying to say it nice.
So wait, why did they get kicked out?
Soft skin. They can't handle the room.
I gotcha.
It's a tough room.
You can't handle being Tio when everybody else is B.A. Baracus, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So Matt, talk to me a little bit. If you're actually one of the longer tenured guys in the Teenage Hotline, did it just all come together right away, or it was kind of a couple of guys and you kind of added people as you went? Like, what's the origin story there?
So it was me and Jeremy. Jeremy brought in Yoder and P-Bear. Amongst Jeremy and amongst Yoder and P-Bear, we had another gentleman named Matt. We brought him in. Another gentleman named Dan. We brought him in at one time with the technology base. We were able to we had 11 people on at one time.
Wow. And
due to technology. And some people got a little butthurt and they ended up, getting proved wrong and just being too soft-skinned. So we came down to, over the last probably 2 years, we've really dwindled it down. We're back up again, but there's all 5 of us, another gentleman named Bert, Moses. He jumps in every once in a while, and that's kind of your teen hotline now.
I would say,
yep.
Okay, so
it's been this way since late 2018, early 2019 is when it started.
Wow. Okay, that was going to be my next question. How long? So you guys are in this thing at this point in time, and let me ask you this. This is all kind of reminding me. So my dad has a poker crew, right? And they've been playing poker for 20 years every Thursday night. They take the summers and they take deer season off, but then once the fall hits, they play every Thursday night. And that group has gone through many iterations, but the same core people have still been there. It's kind of, my dad's the ringleader of it now. And there's a line of dudes waiting to get into this poker game, and they can't because it's one table, and they got to wait for somebody to fall off before they get the invite. Is that sort of the kind of game you guys are playing here, where it's like, look, we want to keep it capped so that it doesn't get out of hand? And do you have like a list of potential invitees, or how do you guys go about that?
It kind of stems about the same area. If somebody comes in and we decide that let them in, normally it starts with getting my phone number, and they'll call me, and we'll kind of slide them in and see how they fit with the group. We've shoved a couple out, and we really haven't picked anybody up. We really don't have a waiting list. We have people that might. Yeah, Dwayne. Dwayne's here. He comes and goes. And the biggest reason I did that is he's a buddy of mine, Marcus, and I figured between all 5 of us, we can, we put all of our brain power together, we can probably toast one piece of bread. But, between us 5, we might be able to help him where he's been, because Johnny's been a lot of places. Yoder's been a lot of places, and me and myself and Kleich, and so we were just, that's what I thought would be easiest for him, and something to help break his day up.
Gotcha. So that's a great point there, and maybe we'll go to you, John, here for this one. Talk to me a little bit about how the Teenage Hotline does break your day up. I mean, are you constantly connected to it, or do you jump in and out as the day goes on? Like, what does that look like?
I'm pretty much in there from start in the morning till when everybody starts to, find their place, a hole for the night. Then we usually kind of kick off, leave it at that. But I'm usually on here pretty much all day, unless I'm, unloading. Then I usually hang up the headset, but I'm usually still on the line. But
so it's an all day thing.
It's an all day thing. I mean, there's places that I haven't been to before. Kind of good to know. Majority of the guys we have on here, they got so much knowledge on some of the places that I'm new to. So just to pick their brain on a lot of that stuff is super helpful. So it's kind of nice to be on here all day, depending on what direction you got to go.
Sure. And you talk about passing windshield time, just having a nice, deep, long conversation about anything under the sun is a great way to pass the windshield time, I assume.
It is, because some of the stretches of road that we're on just seems like it drags on for days.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Jason, I'll turn to you for this question. Who's the whipping boy of the group? Because I got a little bit of a peek into that before we actually came on. You guys were dogging on Wendell for being from North Dakota. So
I'm glad I get to answer this one. It's pretty. It'd be Wendell Yoder. He's our North Dakota guy. Kind of Amish.
Kind of Amish. So does that mean he's just got the beard and he doesn't wear the hat, or he doesn't like electricity? What part is Amish?
Well, he's got the beard. Doesn't wear quite the same hat as an Amish guy you think, but yeah. No, it's Wendell. I really can't really say why it's Wendell as much as it's just he's so gullible and just like, I don't know. He just takes it so well, and Polar Bear appreciates him, because if it ain't Wendell, it turns to Polar Bear.
Okay.
And I enjoy it because it's giving Wendell a break, even if he's on there.
Okay, all right. Well, Wendell, I feel like it's finally time we let you speak for yourself here. Do you see yourself as the whipping boy like everyone else clearly sees you as?
Yeah, probably. You talk about having tough skin. Well, I'm kind of like a duck. I just let it all run off,
A good idea, man, because they're laying it on pretty thick from what I can tell.
Oh, no, they do. We have a lot of fun. I give it back too.
Good.
Oh yeah. It may not be that day. It may not be that day, but maybe it's a day down the road.
Yeah. Give it a day when you go home and think about it in the mirror.
Yeah, right. I gotta think about things before I do. Yeah, because he said some stuff, Marcus, that is literally stuck to the tape, and it ain't pretty. No, it's not.
You know what stuck to the tape means, right?
I don't.
Oh.
It's what the tape means. Whenever we get it, we can replay it whenever we want.
Yeah,
we heard it. You can never take it back, basically.
I gotcha.
These are kind of secrets in between us. We don't. It doesn't really leave this room. But we just have it in between each other.
They were secrets among just you, because this will live on the internet forever, fellas. So
that's great.
All right. So I have to assume, guys, when you're on the phone together all day long, I've been talking to so many of you drivers, you liquid drivers out there. I know that crazy shit happens all the time out there on the road. I want you to talk me through maybe some of the crazy things that have happened while you guys have been connected on the hotline, and you've kind of helped each other through. Maybe it be weather, worse drivers, something's going on at a way station or at a truck stop. Like, you guys have got some stories. I know you have to. So decide among yourselves who wants to tell the first story, because I know there's probably a few of them. Any of those come to mind?
Polar Bear, you take this one, bud.
I was going to say, it's the last month, it just seems like there's always something that I've learned that I've pushed off to these guys, Just like earlier, Kleich and I was talking, he was coming up into Memphis, and they're working on I-55. He's on a time crunch that he's not going to make, but still he tries to go as hard and fast as he can. So, right there, we decided listen to me, you decided this is the way I'm going to go, to bypass Memphis, which worked great.
So just that being able to bounce those decisions off of one another seems to be really handy for you guys, because maybe somebody has a bit of experience or knows something that you don't.
Correct.
Yep.
There's the amount of experience that's on this phone line now over the considered years of what we have, but mostly with all of us pulling for the same company. A lot of the stories and stuff we have are our own doings, but a lot of the knowledge that we pass on while we're telling our stories is we've gotten, we've had to help. Here we go with Wendell, and we say he has ghost anxiety. It's anxiety that he never has that appears because he gets a little high strung when he's trucking, and so
I ain't got anxiety.
Hey.
So we like to help Yoder out, and he will call us. He'll call us and he'll say, "Hey, don't put me in the group. I just want to talk to you," and we'll talk him through something. Doesn't matter which one of us does it, and we'll get him through it, or he'll do the vice versa. He's a great listener when it comes down to it. If you get Yoder one-on-one, he's a great listener, and he's a great friend to help us, through the day. Jason and I bounce things off each other.
I know I have.
We all do it. We all have stories. I don't think there's really a lot that's crazy. I mean, we see the normal, idiot drivers out here, which most of them are in Omaha, but that's not, I didn't say it out loud. But I found out that Omaha has two sister cities. One's Little Rock, Arkansas, and the other one's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I think they all migrated somehow.
Yeah, I got you there. Well, and I just want to go ahead and interject on the ghost anxiety thing. Wendell, when you said earlier, I ain't got anxiety, that was the least anxiety-ridden thing I've ever heard. So that was the most even keel, calm, I don't have that. There's no anxiety in that guy. I think you're right. It's ghosts.
I get wound up sometimes when I get a little under pressure. And really, yeah.
So
a little bit.
I would think every driver does. I mean, when you guys are out there tugging around 80,000 pounds of liquid, it's got to ride the nerves from time to time. But how about a time when somebody has anybody ever just completely lost their shit on the Teenage Hotline?
Oh my.
Here we go.
Just once in a while or every day?
Okay.
Once in a while, yeah.
Well, let's just go. Let me rephrase the question. Who amongst you loses their shit every day?
Okay.
I'm going to say it. I'm guessing that they're going to point at me.
I was going to say, on the count of three, everybody say it.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I pretty much lose my shit on some idiot four-wheeler every day. I can't do nothing about it, but I do. I can scream and yell, and it makes me feel better.
Good. Well, Polar Bear, you sent me a text message just yesterday of Mike Tyson knocking somebody out and asked if I ever wanted to do that. And I told you most weeks, yeah. So I have to assume I assume something went down yesterday that made you ask me that. Did you you get annoyed, lose your shit a little bit yesterday?
No, I'm always watching TV, and we got a text where we send it to the whole Teenage Hotline. Well, I seen it, and I took a video of it and sent it. So I sent it to them, and then I sent it to you. Have you ever had this happen? No, I was parked when that happened.
Well, yeah, of course. I kind of caught that there, and I appreciate you saying. I almost feel like I'm an honorary member of the Teenage Hotline at this point.
We've kind of put you in, yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
We're adopted.
You're talking to us, so you're in.
I'm the adopted one. I love it, man. This has already been so much fun, and I've got so much more here to talk about. But before I dive more into the things that I've prepared, I definitely want to give all of you guys a chance to just kind of say whatever's on your mind, if it pertains to the Teenage Hotline or not. You guys are kind enough to come on here and share your time with me. I want to give you the floor and let you just kind of talk about the Teenage Hotline, talk about your friendship, talk about the job, talk about whatever you want to talk about if you've got something. If the answers, look, they've already said it, just pass it on, that's fine. But Matt, let's start with you. You're the guy that came up with the A-Team theme thing. You're the guy that at least called me and asked me about it. So you're going first here. Wide open floor with the Teenage Hotline as kind of a loose topic. What's coming to mind for you to talk about right now?
The camaraderie, the friendship that we've all built. I've been lucky enough that I've been able to go out to eat with each and every one of the guys. I've been able to drink a beer with each and every one of the guys. We've went through personal problems on a personal level with each and every one of the guys, talking to them, the camaraderie, and then to boot it, the amount of knowledge that these guys, the different locations we go to that on a professional level that they can get us through. That's the Teenage Hotline to me. It's just the friendship that we've built, and it's standard. I have a ton of respect for each one of these guys. I give them all a hard time. They dish it back. A lot of good laughs. We know about each other more than just truck drivers. So that's my concept for the Teenage Hotline.
John, how about you?
Pretty much, yeah. So if you got any sort of question or any problem that arises on the road, someone on the line here deal with it. Like Kleich said, if you need to get in somewhere, you have no idea what you're doing at this place, what the procedures are. Somebody will throw you a helping hand. I mean, walk you like hand in hand, just through everything. No questions asked. I mean, it's just, the respect that each and every one of us has for each other is just phenomenal.
It really sounds like it. You can hear it. You can hear it. I can feel it being in the conversation with you guys. Jason, you're up now.
I don't know if I could have said it any better, because when you brought it up, the topic, I was kind of thinking the same way. It's just like I've had some things happen over the past few months that you just need somebody, and it's better to have somebody when you're out here a lot of times than just being in here alone and dealing with it mentally. And when you've got a group of guys that are as great as these guys here that are on this phone right now, that as much shit as we may force out on each other and give each other, and the laughs we have and the goofing around, there's also this really serious side to everybody that's more than willing to hear you out, listen you out. And then it doesn't just end there. It'll go on for days. They'll keep they'll check in on you. Even on the weekend, I'll get a phone call, especially Matt. He can be a hard ass and, ornery, but he's such a good guy, and John Frey, they'll all reach out like, hey, how you doing today? How's it going now? But it's just, I don't know. It's just really, it's one of the strongest bonds I think in my life that I've probably ever had with a group of guys.
That's awesome. And once again, like I said, you can tell. And, let our episode from a few weeks ago be kind of an example of this, but everybody needs somebody to talk to sometime, like you said right there. And I think that that's really important that we remember everybody's fighting a battle out here that we all know nothing about. And the more camaraderie and trust that we can have in one another in dealing with that type of stuff, the better. And so I love that you guys have this thing going on and you can help each other in that way, as well as from a professional standpoint where you're helping with, drops and loads and everything like that. Wendell, I'm headed to you next, my friend. What comes to your mind when I say the words Teenage Hotline?
Well, when I came from northern North Dakota and I came down here, I didn't know anybody. I mean, I had my girlfriend, wife now, and I met some people outside of the trucking industry that adopted me as family. And when I got into driving truck, these guys are my group of friends. They're like brothers to me. They just, it started out more informational, and then it just gets, kind of personal, and we're like a family. It really, it made moving down here from way up north really pleasant to know you have people, friends like this, a group. And, like I say, we're like brothers. We really are.
Sure. Well, I'm glad they made that transition, or this made that transition easy on you. I like how you said it started out as like mostly, professional advice type thing, and then they learned that they could shit on you all day, and then that's what
exactly. And I didn't do nothing about it, so they like that. So Yoder, other than every part of it.
Polar Bear, I'm on to you, man. When I say Teenage Hotline, what hits your mind, buddy?
So one thing that I enjoy listening to, because I'm an OFC, which I can't say what the OFC stands for, but they're all Bartow drivers. So I really enjoy listening to Yoder will come on all frantic. Oh, I'm going over here to yes and yes. I'll be there at 4 o'clock, can I? And Kleich or SD, nope, got to be there by 4. Or do we got to scale in? Or they'll be going to this place and Kleich will say, hey, I was just there and they're working on the main entrance. Go backwards around it. That's what I like listening to. Just the knowledge of all of them, just what hours they got. Do you got to scale in? When can we unload? That's what I like listening to. And the other thing I'm going to end it with, that's the worst of it. Don't let him know where you're going to park because he's going to be standing right there at the front of your truck waiting for a hug. So that's what we all do when we see each other. The only one I really don't see is FD. But, I mean, Jason, Yoder, Kleich, Berto, every time I see him.
Well, that's awesome. That's great, man. That's
the other family thing right there. It's not just calling each other friends. It's proving it. We're like I said, we're brothers. We're family.
Absolutely. Well said from all of you guys. And I really appreciate that. I wanted to make sure we got that in because the next thing that I'm going to turn this to, it could go off the rails, and if it does, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So I've never had 5 drivers on here at one time before. In fact, I don't know that I've had more than 2 or 3 drivers on before. And so I'm going to seize this opportunity live because one of the most important things for me during the day doing my job is that what you guys are listening to, that we're pumping out here, it does something for you, whether it entertains you, it educates you, it makes you think, it makes you laugh, it tugs at your heartstrings. I don't care what emotion it elicits, but I'm hoping, along with all the goals that we have in disseminating information and making sure you guys get important stuff from the front office, I want to make sure that the podcast is good. I want you guys to like it. And right now the numbers tell me that you guys more than like it. I mean, there's like 5 times the amount of people that work for Liquid listening to this podcast on a weekly basis. So I want to ask you guys, starting over with you, go through one by one. What types of things do you want to hear on the podcast going forward, and why have you liked it thus far? Wendell, how about we go to you real quick? What do you like about the podcast as it is, and what would you like to hear in the future?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to everybody, talk and the different, the managers and stuff telling different things, and the drivers. I enjoy hearing all the stuff. I really don't know. I don't know what to say, like, going forward, what I'd like to hear, I guess.
So if I did more of the same, you'd probably be okay with it, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. It's very, educational and entertaining.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and I hope we can keep it like that for you going forward. Matt, how about for you, man? What do you like about it? What are we doing right? What can we do in the future to make it better?
I like the podcast. I mean, it's good. I love hearing from, like, Roger, Josh, Jason, Dave. They're informative. Tanner, I've learned a lot of stuff about the company from their point of view, and I think that's good for all the drivers. But on the other side, I like the drivers, but I'm not a very serious kind of person unless I'm pissed, and then I'm very serious. But I like the comical side. I like the fun stuff, like some of the drivers, and they're cooking or just, like joking around. I like that kind of stuff too. I don't like political and I don't like religious stuff.
Well, I mean,
that's where I draw the line.
That's how I make all my friends, though, Matt. Come on, like. No, I am a rural country kid in the city in Oregon. I don't have any friends. Let's just put it that way.
You got us now. Oh,
good. I added 5 of them today, man. I thank you for that.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is great. I love the podcast. I've listened to it every week. I don't download it, but I listen to it every week.
Awesome. That's all we asked for.
Just because I'm not technically advanced enough to know how to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Yoder, you've got a little bit of ammo for you. Next time he shits on you, you can say, well, at least I know how to download a podcast.
Exactly. Gee whiz, even I can do that.
With the help of Roxy.
Well, what we say, a Yoder can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
How about you, Jason? What have you heard on the podcast that you enjoy? What would you like to hear more of in the future?
Like a lot like Matt, I've really enjoyed hearing from the guys that started all of this as far as this company goes, and the history and how it started and all that. And like, I mean, I'm a driver trainer, so there's times that like when I'm out there and we've got a long drive back that I'll Bluetooth it to the stereo and I'll let the new guys listen to it, so they can kind of get a feel and like a look into the company itself also. I mean, I'm not sure if they get all that when they start. I really don't know how the beginning process, the first 2 days goes here, but I mean, I've used it for that like multiple times so they can kind of get an idea and turn them onto the podcast so they just know it's not some. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I really enjoy listening to it. I mean, I can't really say enough about it. I mean, I was mind blown when it came out and it came about. I couldn't believe it happened. And it's just cool. As far as where it goes, I just feel like, I don't know, the sky's kind of the limit on that thing. You do a great job and it's fun. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I'm not like that kind of most really creative person, I guess, in that aspect.
Hey, man, it's fine. I love it. In fact, I'm going to give you something to do the next time you've got a new guy in the rig. Just turn it on and don't say anything about it, and just see if eventually they turn and look at you and be like, who is this asshat? Like, why have we been listening to him for the last 4 hours of our day? I want to see if that'll elicit a reaction for you. But I appreciate that, man. I love that you're turning new drivers onto the podcast because, it's important that we're in everybody's ears that wants to listen. And I think the new drivers can probably get something out of a lot of the stuff. If you seasoned drivers are getting something out of it, then there's definitely something there for the new drivers. No question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got other buddies that drive for other companies, and I mean, I've turned them on to it. I mean, if they're interested or not, like, give it a shot, I mean, you can learn a little bit about it, so maybe they can jump ship and come over here and join
the good guys.
Liquid trucking.
Yeah, join the good guys, exactly. Right. All right, thank you, man. Thanks. That's all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You guys have all said a lot of really nice stuff. John, what do you like about the podcast? What do you want to see in the future?
I don't know how much more I can add. I mean, the guys pretty much hit the nail on the head, Very informative, driver-related segments and stuff. And I don't know anything off the top of my head what you could do more going forward, other than keep on doing what you're doing. Doing an awesome job.
Thank you. I was actually going to think about freestyle rapping once or twice per episode, but I can't get that one past review, unfortunately, but it's just because I haven't found my flow yet. I'll get it.
You'll get there.
Polar Bear, I want to go back to you, my friend. Go ahead and answer the question for us now. Sounds like he's still breaking up, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
he's still breaking up.
He is. That's all right. He's up there above the Arctic Circle somewhere, driving around. I'm sure of it.
Polar Bear would.
Oh, man, it's like now it's almost comical that we keep going to him and only catching every other second of what he's saying because, I mean, does this ever happen when you guys are on the line, somebody's service gets shoddy and they just become the butt of every joke?
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you right now, and the boys can back me up, what we're talking about right now is light. This is a light lunch. It's toned down a lot. Yeah, this is toned down. I mean, a lot. People are still pissing me off. but yeah, I've toned it down. We've toned it down a lot because we're pretty harsh.
Hey, I can tell, and I mean, I appreciate you guys toning it down just for the podcast, just because I don't want to put my editor through all of the bleeps that we would probably have to put in if you guys were 100% on right now. So I really appreciate it, fellas. But listen, guys, we are running out of time here. I know you guys are busy out there, and I want to get you back to working and doing the great job that you all do for Liquid Trucking. I'll start right at the top and say, Jason, really appreciate it. This is your first appearance on the podcast. Can't thank you enough for coming on, my friend.
Hey, it was awesome, man. Thank you very much.
No problem. John, also your first venture onto the podcast. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it's been a great experience.
Well,
Great experience.
we'll keep you on the list again. We're keeping the whole Teenage Party Line on the list because, guys, as well as this has gone, I'm feeling like this is part 1, okay? And there's going to be more parts in the future. Wendell Yoder, also a first-timer here on the podcast. You 3 first-timers knocked it out of the park, man. Wendell, really appreciate the time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciated it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. And Matt Kleich, love the A-Team idea, dude. And keep sending me the texts. Keep in touch with me out there. I love that you guys feel comfortable enough just to text me something whenever it happens. You're one of those guys that'll do that. Really appreciate the time and all the communication, Matt.
You bet. Anytime. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And Polar Bear, I'm not sure if we've got your service back to 100% yet, but I'm going to give you a chance to try it. We really appreciate you, man. You're another guy that's always texting me stuff and chatting with me off the air. I can't thank you enough for your involvement.
Perfect ending.
You cannot edit this. That is perfect.
You got it, guys.
That's more than a daily basis right there. Right?
Oh, all right. It's stated. Yeah, whatever you said, Polar Bear. All right, fellas. Keep the shiny side up. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon, okay?
All right. Bye,
All right, Marcus. Thank you very much.
What a great conversation with all of the gentlemen from the Teenage Party Line there. I can't thank them enough. I know I said this a lot at the end of the interview, but to get 5 different people to share that much time with me on the air and just BS about whatever and know that they're kind of coming into it not really knowing what I'm going to ask, that was amazing. I will definitely get those guys back on again. I know there's a couple other members of the Teenage Hotline that they would like to include, and we'll get those guys on as well. If you're out there listening, understand that there is a wealth of knowledge as far as trucking is concerned, working for Liquid Trucking, both in the office and out on the road. So I highly recommend, if you're a new driver for Liquid or you're just feeling a little lost from time to time, look some of these guys up, all right? Find their numbers, get in touch with them. They can definitely help out. And just based on what I know about them, they will help you out. The Teenage Hotline, again, thank you guys all for coming on. Since we're kind of in fun mode right now anyway, with this conversation, I needed something to do here, and I thought about covering some breaking news. I thought about talking about some market trends, but I just didn't really feel like it fit within this episode. I mean, we're having fun. We're talking Teenage Hotline. We're gossiping. We're laughing. Let's keep that moving, all right? Let's finish out this episode with something fun. And so I went over to a place that I will sometimes get some content from. It's called thetop10s.com. And believe it or not, this is a website just comprised of top 10 lists that are all user generated. So I could go on there and I could say top 10 favorite Liquid drivers, and I could make a list. I would never do such a thing, but the capability is there. And as I was browsing through for a good top 10 list to maybe talk through and commentate on a little bit, I realized how terrible most of what was showing up in the feed was. And so I bring you my top 5 worst top 10 lists. And I decided to go top 5 because I wanted to buck the trend. You know what? I was so disgusted with top 10 lists, I'm not even going to try for 10. I'm going for 5. So my number 5 worst top 10 list is top 10 dad jokes in the movie Airplane. Yeah, actually, I think this one works better. Airplane is one big dad joke. It's Leslie Nielsen, for crying out loud. That top 10, you can't do that. You can't rank them. They're all 1 or they're all 10. They don't, transition between those. It's Leslie Nielsen. Come on. Somebody wasted a lot of time on that one. Number 4 on the list, top 10 animated goth girls. You might have thought I was saying golf girls, but no, goth, as in like they listen to Marilyn Manson and wear black fingernail polish. I don't know. I didn't even know there was 10 of them animated. I didn't even know that animated goth girls was a thing, but I plugged that into Google and found out very quick that absolutely a lot of you guys are into that. Number 3 on the list, top 10 colors Taylor Swift should dye her hair. I know that Taylor Swift has won a lot of you over. I don't fault anybody for that. I think that if you like her music and that's your thing, she does great things. I think about all of the little girls out there that look up to Taylor Swift, and I think, look, there's a lot of worse people that you could look up to, and most of those worst people are the loudest Taylor Swift fans that you can hear from in the world. I mean, you cannot tell Taylor Swift that one of her farts stinks and not catch hell from a legion of millions of rabid fans that see her do no wrong. Which is where a list like this comes from. The top 10 colors that she should dye her hair. I didn't think there were 10 colors out there. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I dyed my hair blue once. I dyed my hair red once. Cannot see Taylor Swift pulling any of those off with the type of billionaire success she's had lately. And so I'm running afoul here. I'm talking about this for too long already. I've given it more than it deserves. Terrible list. You wasted your time. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That brings us to number 2 on the list. Top 10 scariest Power Rangers of all time. The Power Rangers are the heroes. They're not scary. Maybe you missed a word here. Maybe you wanted to say top 10 scariest Power Rangers villains of all time, at which point I think we could spend a lot of time on a list because the Power Rangers fought some crazy idiots and they were always the size of a damn building and they had to turn into Megazord to take them on. But what are you going to tell me the Green Ranger's scary? How many times did he save the day? The White Ranger's scary? That's just the Green Ranger, but a newer iteration. The Black Ranger's not scary. The Pink Ranger's not scary. She's wearing pink. The Red Ranger, they kind of tried to make him into like the Leonardo of the Power Rangers, like the fearless leader, but he had all these problems. Look, again, I've spent too much time on this. There's no need for a top 10 scariest Power Rangers list. None of them are scary. There's not 10 of them. There's only like 6 Power Rangers. So I don't even know what you were doing with this list. But rounding out my top 5 worst top 10 lists at thetop10s.com is top 10 dog breeds. I got a real problem here, all right? Everybody knows that this is a dog-loving show. So you might be wondering, why would you have a problem with this list, Marcus? It seems right up your alley. It would be if you'd stop trying to rank them. You jerks, they're all great. Every single one of them. And honestly, what good top 10 list about the top 10 dog breeds doesn't have corgis in the top 10? I have a problem because they put miniature dachshunds at 12. They put corgis at 15. All right, they put beagles, another favorite breed of mine. They're in there, but they're like 7 or 8. Just disrespect all across the board. Look, number 1, German Shepherd. Okay, fine. If you need a dog that can be, a great companion and also just be unleashed to murder somebody at the drop of a hat with the right training, that's great. German Shepherds are awesome. Get a Malamute, really train it up, teach it Russian. But I don't know. Labradors made the list. Golden Retrievers made the list. I feel like that's always going to happen. All in all, I just didn't feel like the respect was given where it was due. So, congratulations, top 10 dog breeds list on top10s.com. You lost. You're the worst list I could find in the 15, 20 minutes I spent looking for terrible lists. I only have such a long attention span for this type of thing. All right, that's going to pretty much do it for us. A little bit of fun there. What a fun episode that was. Teenage Hotline. Those guys were awesome again. I can't thank them enough. Spent almost 40 minutes with them. That was clearly only part 1. We'll bring in part 2 at a later date so you guys can enjoy more from them. And again, like I said, if you're feeling lost out there and you're driving for liquid, there's a wealth of information waiting to be bestowed upon you. I can't guarantee that you're going to get an invite to the Teenage Hotline, but what I can guarantee for you is that any one of those gentlemen that we talked to, Jason, John, Matt, Polar Bear, or Wendell would all give you the shirt off their back, and they'd all help you out in any situation that you find yourself in. So those are good numbers to have. I recommend finding them. Thanks to everyone else behind the scenes that made this go today. I appreciate my Audio Ninja Mike for tossing in that A-Team logo that we did when we opened up the Teenage Hotline episode. What a great idea. We're going to play that thing every single time those dudes come on. I got to get out of here. I'm out of time. Keep the shiny side up. Stay safe out there, liquid drivers, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.